Mr. Wilkes! Mr. Wilkes!
Hey, Dolly, just stand a sec.
Oh, what's up?
Nick! Get rid of this. I don't care how you do it, just get rid of it.
God.
Yes?
Well, come on. Get going.
Thing is, I'm sure I saw her only yesterday.
Who?
Mrs. Tate. He must have done it in it dead of night. All I said there was something fishy about that bloke.
Who?
Mr. Tate, of course.
This libel undoubtedly refers to first Mrs. Tate has died a few years back. Of natural causes, aren't we told?
You'll not be saying that when they find body.
Ah, for goodness sake. Seth Armstrong, instead of being stood standing there giving vent to your morbid speculations, might I suggest you fetch your hosepipe round front back and lend a hand?
It'll cost you a pint.
Well, I'd best go and break the news to Mr. Tate.
Mr. Tate? He's best left in ignorance, surely.
Rate you're going, that half the village who has seen that by dinner time. Far better he learns it from somebody with a bit of sense than getting a garbled version from the likes of you two.
Oh, right, Eric. Next week? Yeah. No, there'll be 20 of them. Yeah, I'll be over later to sort out the paperwork. Yeah, thanks, Eric.
Pollard, you're not going ahead with this. Look, Joe, steroids are a risky business. The fine alone's a couple of £1,000, to say nothing about the loss of income. It's a gamble we can't afford to take.
What do you want me to do? Give them away?
What if you get caught?
I don't know. Look, it's been done now. I've got to go through with it. In a road, you've always said I should act more on impulse. Now I have. Now, you of all people, I thought would understand.
Oh, I understand all right, Joe. I understand that if you've made a mistake, you should stop now before the real damage is done, before it's too late.
I'm sorry to break it to you like this. Amos is cleaning it off now.
Thanks.
You'll be getting on to the police, I suppose?
I don't think so. It's a personal matter, really.
Well, it won't be personal much longer. Why would anybody do such a thing?
You don't run a business without making enemies. This is what happens when you're public property.
I don't want to interfere, but you can't just ignore it. This was done with malicious intent.
You're probably right, Mr. Wilkes, but we won't be taking it further.
Well, if you change your mind, get in touch with us. I'd like you to feel you have some local support.
Thanks. Goodbye, Henry.
Morning, Henry. Lovely day.
Not him again.
Have you decided yet?
What?
Well, the handball. It's not long now.
Oh, God.
Yes, we have decided. We'd love to host it.
You what?
Be quiet, Frank. We'd be delighted. Shall we take a stroll through the grounds and we can discuss details? See you later, Frank.
What are you doing here? I thought you were off to Pollard's.
Yeah, I was. I changed my mind. Put it off till later.
Ah.
You all right?
Yeah, fine. It's just that I've just been talking to Rachel and apparently David...
Oh, say no more. I've forgotten all about him.
So had I. But he's still here, I'm afraid.
What's he going to do this time? Whisk you off on a white charger?
No, he wants the kids to go and live with him.
What? Why? Have they told him about the baby?
No. Rachel says no. It's his last weapon, isn't it? He knows he can't get me, so he's going to try and get them instead.
Yeah, well, we should have known he wouldn't give up this easily.
I'm going to go and talk to him.
You're kidding?
Well, I've got to talk to him. I've got to find out if he means it, haven't I?
Yeah, all right, but talk to the kids first. Find out what they want. Don't go looking for trouble if there's none there.
That's what Rachel said.
Yeah. Well, see if he asks them again. And if he does, and the kids say they want to stay here, then you can go and see him with an honest answer.
What do you think you're doing, telling Turner we'll hold his blasted ball?
I thought we agreed.
That was before my private life was plastered all over Beckendale.
The best thing to do is ignore it. He'll realise he can't hurt you and give up.
Ignore it. Kim, how can we ignore it? Half the Dales will be talking about us by now.
Well, you just have to show them it's not true. Come on, Frank, we're bigger than this.
You know what Turner and his cronies are like. Stab you in the back as soon as look at you. Do you really want to have them around now?
And what do you suggest if not? Do you want us to stay in till everybody's forgotten? Come on, Frank, I know it's not easy, but it's the only way.
And what about Starkey? What are we going to do about him?
What more do you want to do? You won't go to the police. You just have to ignore him as well.
I'll make sure that he never works again. If I get my hands on him, I'll...
Don't, Frank. We've done nothing wrong. Ignore it.
Yeah. I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. And this ball will give us a chance to prove it.
Look, I want you to know that whatever Christopher and Zoe may say, this has no bearing on us. I love you, and I'm not ashamed of anything.
Well, Mr. Pollard, I was wondering if there's any work going.
Yes, I'd heard you got the chop from Tate's. Sounded nasty.
Yeah, let's just say we had a bit of a disagreement.
Well, let's say you ought to be more careful. Word gets around when a driver is unreliable.
I don't want to know it. Tate's blacked me from other jobs already. So, is there any work going?
I'm afraid, old chap.
What on earth is going on? These are
I only told you what I know.
If you ever...
I don't know what you're on about. What's this then? Been out sketching, have you? Doing some lettering? Get off.
Mr. Tate, please!
Stay away from my yard, or I'll tear you apart.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Be warned, Starkey. Be warned.
If you are the cause of further upset at the market, Mr. Tate won't be the only person to black you.
There's one thing for sure. Mr. and Mrs. Tate won't be showing their faces round here for a while. Second Mrs. Tate, that is. First one being unavailable for comment.
Right enough. I think we should contact police. Get Sergeant MacArthur to step round here and give me his comments. Walk back in, Beckendale, Amos Brealey, licensee and proprietor speaking. I'm sorry, you want me to what? What for? Graffiti? Oh, I see. Right, I'll be there. Goodbye, Mr. Put phone down.
Who did it? What was that about?
What about graffiti? That was somebody who knows. Wants to tell whole story to the courier. Wants me to have an exclusive.
No one in the pub last night acting funny?
Only Amos.
And you heard note?
Nope.
Amos? Well, I'd best get off up to Home Farm then and have a word with Mr. Tate.
I think you'll find he won't want to take it any further. Says it's a private matter, best left.
It's public enough when innocent customers come out to these licensed premises for a bit of harmless recreation, only to have their eyes assailed by this pornography. Wouldn't you say, Sergeant?
Well, in a manner of speaking, Amos, aye.
And I should leave no stone unturned until culprit has been found. You can count on me. In fact, if I hear anything at all as may throw light on this unfortunate affair, I shall not hesitate to let you know at once.
Thank you, Amos, thank you. I'll see myself out.
He ain't got a clue, has he?
Oh, well, it's often press who first get a lead, as we say in journalistic circles.
Oh, put the kettle on, will you, darling? desperate.
Been shopping?
Oh, just a few bits. Dolly, what's the most you've ever catered for?
About 12, why?
How do you fancy 150?
What?
We're holding the Hunt Ball this year.
When?
In about a fortnight.
A fortnight? Oh my goodness, I better get started then. I'll phone Jackson's to do the catering, and Amos could get the drinks wholesale. I've got to have music.
Dolly, please. Can't you prioritise?
Sorry?
Coffee first.
Oh!
What's this doing here?
Oh, I bought it for Mum. Why?
Nothing.
What's wrong with you now? We never have for you. Look, why don't you want Mum and Joe to have a baby?
What? You want it? You want Mum to have a new family?
Well, why not?
What about us?
Just because Mum and Joe have decided to have a family, it doesn't mean to say that... Mark, it's none of our business, is it?
She's not going to have time for us anymore, Rach.
Of course she will. Anyway, you keep on going on about how much they treat you like a kid. Here's your chance to prove how grown up you are.
Yes, I can appreciate you wanting to keep this private, Mr. Tate. But it seems to be becoming very public. I mean, well, this, the pub, and your yard.
Perhaps.
Have you any idea who might be behind all this?
A man in my position makes a lot of enemies, Sergeant.
Perhaps you should have a think, sir.
Yes, Sergeant, I will.
You do realise that this is a very serious allegation, sir? Why would anyone think that you had murdered your wife, Mr. Tate?
I've no idea.
How did she die, sir?
I beg your pardon?
How, in fact, did she die?
She died of cancer after a very long illness. Do you want to see the death certificate?
Not at the moment, sir.
It was cancer of the liver. She died at our house in Skipdale on December the 24th, 1984. Our GP was called Kennedy, and you could no doubt check with him. Is there anything else you want to know?
No, I don't think so, sir. Well, I hope that you won't be troubled again, sir. Goodbye.
I finished that order. I thought I'd be off now.
Off? After not having turned up for most of the morning, that's out of the question. There's another 4 dozen fish to be packed for tonight. I want that done.
On my own?
Well, David Hughes managed this morning.
Can't you give me an hand, Mr. Turner?
No, absolutely not. I've got to get my suit for the Hunt Ball. It pays to book early.
Why the Hunt Ball? Where are you taking now? Mrs. Bates has opted.
Oh. Actually, I haven't thought about that. I don't suppose you'd care to, would you, Elsa?
What? I'm afraid I couldn't. I can't dance. And I'm already going out that night.
Oh, well, all right then.
I've got it.
I don't want any stupid suggestions from you, thank you very much, sir.
What about Rosemary?
Rosemary?
You know, that stripper.
Stripper?
Not a stripper. Nudist. Her front mating agency.
Oh, that Rosemary.
Mr. Brayley.
Nudism is a perfectly respectable hobby, Elsa.
Yes, Mr. Turner.
And Rosemary, Miss Gray, is a perfectly respectable lady.
Well, are you going to ask her then, or what?
Oh, I haven't made up my mind yet.
Well, if you do, you want to make sure she keeps all her clothes on. You wouldn't want her exposing her, sending middle ladies, excuse me, would you? Are you going to ask her then?
Are you sure you couldn't make it, Elsa?
Sorry, Mr. Turner.
See, there's nobody else.
Yeah, maybe you're right. She was quite all right, if I remember correctly.
They were having an affair, of course.
I beg your pardon?
Been going on for years, it had behind Mrs. Tate's back. They were at the guard all hours. Working late, they called it. But I saw them at it loads of times. We all knew us drivers.
And Mrs. Tate ill in bed at home the while.
Oh, I was desperate to be rid of her. I heard them say.
So they both murdered her?
Just so that they could be together.
Well, how did they do it?
Claimed they're putting her out of her misery. Just gave her a few pills and then problem's over.
I never liked the look of that pair.
And that's not all. I heard they told her what they're up to. She was in agony and they taunted her with it.
Delighted, Rosemary. It'll be a pleasure. And I'll see you next week then. Right. Oh, Rosemary, dress is formal.
It had better be.
Right. Right. Goodbye, Rosemary. Oh, I'd forgotten what a charming woman she is.
I'll be off now then, Mr. Turner.
Oh, no, you won't, my girl. You're coming across the road with me for a quick snifter.
She must be a very charming woman. Thank you very much.
That's very good of you, Mr. Turner. I am feeling thirsty.
Oh, hello.
Can I come in?
Yeah. What's up? Is your portable phone on the blink again?
Any chance of a cup of tea?
No sooner over the threshold and you're making demands already.
Just thought I'd come round and see you.
Really? Last time you were going to see me, you forgot to turn up, remember?
Sorry. Meant to come round and apologise, but...
Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine.
Chris, what's the matter? Has something happened?
It's just... We've had a bit of a family row. It's nothing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
What do you mean the man's a murderer?
It were written up all of it side at pub.
What?
They reckon he and Mrs. Tate murdered first Mrs. Tate.
They? Who's they?
Sources close to event.
Do you mean I've arranged to hold the hunt ball in the home of a murderer?
Alleged murderer, Alan.
Why the devil didn't you tell me this before?
You never asked.
I don't think there's any truth in these allegations.
But what on earth am I going to do? It's too late to cancel now. It would be a disaster this near the event. I'll have to leave the area.
You don't think you're overreacting just a bit, do you, Alan?
But you don't understand. You see, it was my idea. It's like asking Dr. Crippen to a WI meeting.
I don't know, Mr. Turner. Most that gets the killers of one sort or another anyway. I've even seen you rampant at sight of blood.
What are you talking about?
Murdering innocent little creatures. Tearing them limb from limb. Smearing blood all over each other.
Gone completely mad.
I think he's talking about foxes.
Well, there's killing and killing, Seth. I mean, foxes are sport, as you very well know. And going out and topping your wife doesn't constitute an afternoon out with the hunt. And this is very serious.
Let's get this in perspective, Alan. This chap obviously doesn't like Frank Tate. He's trying to harm his reputation. He's made some spurious accusations against him, which Sergeant MacArthur has dismissed. That should be the end of it. Surely you're not stupid enough to fall into his trap, are you? Eh?
Well,
Come on, Mr. Turner. As he says, the police are treating it as a hoax.
yes, but is that the point? And what are the Barrington Smythes going to say?
Not as much as they would if it was in your front room.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you're right. There is nowhere else. It'll have to be there. And this man Tate will be the death of me.
Ball's back on then, is it?
Yes, I suppose so, as if it's going to be covered up.
What will you do when Gordon Wyatt finds out?
Oh, shut up, Seth.
It's a very prestigious event, Mr. Turner.
As Henry quite rightly said, Frank Tate is the victim in all this.
So what did happen to his wife then?
Typical, Seth. Typical. It's people like you who set up lynch mobs. And what hope is there for British justice with your type baying for blood?
Eh?
Understand, Seth, that in this country a man is innocent until he's proved guilty. Probably one of your weak-minded lot who started all this in the first place.
Do I take it then, Mr. Turner, you are fully satisfied as to Mr. Tate's innocence?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, if I were you, I'd watch out for next week's Courier. You'll find a world exclusive.
When she died, I was so glad, so relieved. I just thought, thank God it's all over. I felt really guilty about it. It was as though I wanted my own mother to die. But it wasn't like that. She wasn't how she was. How we knew her. It wasn't how she wanted to be. And so when Starkey told me that my father had done it, he'd stopped the suffering. Although I was shocked at the time, I could have admired him, even thought he'd done a very brave thing. He put the woman he loved out of her misery. Only that had been how it was. But then Starkey told me about her, about Kim. All through my mother's illness, my dad had been carrying on with that woman. While my mum lay dying in her bed, he was around with that woman. They killed her together. He didn't put her out of her misery at all. He killed my mum to be with her.
What are you going to do?
I'm never going to speak to him again, that's for sure.
I don't know what to say, Chris.
Any chance of another coffee?
Yeah.
Feels better to have talked. I don't know what I'd have done if I hadn't come round here. I think I've ruined your evening, though.
Look, you can ruin my evening any time.
Thanks. Thanks for everything.